with caution.
What is up, drunken fighters, and welcome back to another caution video. This time we're going to go a little bit more in depth on block strings. Now, so far I showcased how to do some combos, I showcased how to approach in neutral, and I felt like it was time to showcase you guys what you can do on block and what kind of strings are available. Now, in terms of strings, pretty much everything is possible what you want to do. It all comes down, once again, it's a little bit of like conditioning your opponent, just like in how to approach to neutral. Your opponent's behavior is going to influence your decisions on strings. However, there's a couple of things that you might keep into account when you're trying to discover strings for yourself, and there's a couple of setups that I actually want to showcase you guys. So if you ever want to go into training mode yourself, go and mess with block reversal. Block reversal is the coolest thing you can do in finding cool strings, and as you can see here, I have like so many things ready. I have crouching light punch twice, medium kick, throw, light kick. You can do anything you want to create like a cool situation for yourself. So let's get things started. So the first thing I want to talk with you guys about is a simple light strings. Now this works mid-screen and in the corner. Let me put the dummy on crouching medium kick, for example. And check out this string right here. So this one is really cool in my opinion. I think I showcased this almost like a month ago, but it's still one of my favorite strings. Why? Because the first one goes low, and if you end this sequence, you are actually safe from crouching medium kick, which means you can actually whiff punish that with a crouching fierce, which is really cool in my opinion. Obviously also works in the corner. Really cool string, and you can mess around with that from here on out. There's also a different one you can do, because you can also go for like 2 jabs, for example, into that, and you can see that the spacing already is not optimal, but you can stop that with going for back fierce, for example, and then you will see that you will actually beat it. Now this is a very interesting string because we can continue from here on out. The reason why this is good is because if he would try to do this earlier, you can go for that, for example. If he does it like after the first one, you can just confirm that into rekkas. From the second one, it's going to be a little bit harder, but if he would try to go for a crouching medium kick, for example, we can go for that. And here comes the cool part. Imagine if he actually blocks that last back fierce. Look at that. We are still safe from the crouching medium kick, so we can actually go for the same situation and go for the crouching fierce once again. So this is a really cool space trap. What you can even do after that is, imagine if he would go for it on the 5th hit. I don't like this one that much. You can actually go for light punch rekka, and you can actually create this into a space trap once again, because if you delay it the next hit, you can actually interrupt him with a counter hit. But yeah, obviously, like, it's a little bit more unsafe because going for rekka has 13 frame startup, but it's still less than actually like a standing roundhouse, so it's not that bad. And as you can see, after all these hits, you're still safe. So yeah, wiggle around with that. And the interesting part about this is, look at back fierce. Normally back fierce is -3, but here it is only -1. And this is very interesting intel. And the reason for that is, as you can see, Ryu's crouching medium kick is 8 frame startup. So the reason why that is interesting is that means there is a 7 frame gap, which means everything that is faster than 7 frames will actually beat his crouching medium kick attempt. So that means, for example, we could go for crouching medium punch. But this is only just an example, because if he would refuse to do anything, then our crouching medium punch is not really doing anything. It's not creating any pressure. So there is obviously a much better button that we can use, which actually brings me to my next subject, which is standing fierce. Yes, standing fierce, it seems like it's going to become a godlike button, and I'm standing by my point. I am very blessed. We're very blessed to have this button, and I'm gonna showcase you why. Now, in some situations, in the past, for example, we didn't like the fact that only the first 2 hits of standing fierce are special cancelable. However, in block strings, this is actually very, very useful. So, imagine we're gonna keep him on 4 counts. So we go for that, into the back fierce, and we can interrupt his crouching medium kick with our standing fierce. And as you can see, I'm going for a Bakai or arrow kick. I'm not even going to like what is the word? I'm not even going to try and hit confirm it, because I'm just gonna let it rock. And the reason for that is, and this is why I really like standing fierce, is because imagine if he wouldn't do anything right there, then look what happens even if I buffer the Bakai motion. As you can see now, the Bakai is not coming out. And that is because if our Ryu player is going to continue blocking, that means that only the last hit of standing fierce is going to put pressure on him, which means our special move is not going to come out. So this is a very, very nice option select, actually, because if they would try to go for a challenge after the back fierce, that means the second hit or the first hit of standing fierce will interact with his crouching medium kick, meaning that our special cancel will come out. So that means that if they do try to go for a challenge, we're gonna beat them and our special move comes out. We can also do this with arrow kick, of course. And if they decide to do nothing, then, you know, our special move is not gonna come out. And that's the real cool part about this standing fierce. So mess around with these standing fierce strings, because they are a godsend, especially if you can make this look false, like we're -1. You know, that's actually in this situation really good, because we have a 5-frame normal that can still pressure them. And even from here on out, we're -3. So this is going to be a tricky situation. What I like to do here is parry in this case. And then you can still, because like jab is going to be a little bit too far away if I'm not mistaken. And this is what I pretty much do. I'm just messing around and trying to see what could actually work in like a real game. So as you can see, jab actually doesn't connect. So that means any slower button will actually punish them. In this case, I would probably go for crouching medium punch, because it's one of our fastest normals. We could also go for another standing fierce. Obviously, we could go something like that, into that the buffer, and do it again, and we actually get the punish counter. Because like we're giving him the false sense of his security, how far we are, and I can do the same thing. Actually, I'm not sure if I can actually do the same thing, because let's find out. Yeah, see, because the first hit is going to hit of the second standing fierce, so that means we cannot buffer it. So in this case, I would most probably actually go for crouching medium punch instead, because we can buffer that into drive rush, for example, and keep up the pressure. So it's actually going to be an interesting string already. Something like that. If he goes for like on the 5th, for example, we're gonna hit him with. There we go. We get the punish counter. And if you don't want to spin the bar, that is perfectly fine, because crouching medium punch on punish counter links into crouching medium kick. So yeah, mess around with these block strings, because they're amazing, and obviously I'm going to showcase you guys a little bit more. And it's nice that I actually brought up the crouching medium punch, because it's going to bring me to our next topic. So crouching medium punch is one of those buttons that is definitely up for debate. amongst Jamie players. It is, in my opinion, it's fast. It's 6 frames. Its range is pretty terrible. It's our highest damaging medium punch, and obviously 6 frame startup is really good, but the range is a little bit unfortunate, and of course the frame advantage is non-existent. However, at the same time, I would also see this as a positive because it is not negative on block, which is, you know, there's no upside or downsides on this. It's just 0 frames, which means it doesn't give us an advantage. That is true, but also it doesn't give us a disadvantage. And that's how you can mess around with this. So one nice block string that you guys could mess around with is a very interesting one. So, but keep in mind, I'm gonna explain to you guys once again. Keep in mind that you're conditioning your opponent. So if you're realizing that they are going, for example, they're trying to challenge you on the 3rd hit, you know, use this string as like a test. You can do something like that as well if they're going for it after the 3rd, for example. You know, that's all fine. But if you have them conditioned that they might go for it on the 2nd hit. You can actually go for, there you go. You can actually go for 2 jabs into crouching medium punch. And the reason for that is we are -1 after a jab. So from this range, he is going to obviously beat us if we don't chain the lights. So if I would try to go for standing light punch after that, we're gonna get beat every single time. But if we go for a little bit of a slower normal, like crouching medium punch, we actually get the crouching medium punch punish counter. And that's really good because we can hit confirm this into crouching medium kick. Now, if you, for example, don't get let's say they would go for crouching medium kick, but they would go for that after 3 hits. So, in this case, after the crouching medium punch. What we can do after that is actually standing light kick. And that is going to interrupt the crouching medium kick because crouching medium kick has 8 frame startup and our standing light kick is only 5 frame startup. This also doesn't put you in any danger because if they would decide not to go for anything, then our standing light kick is not even going to hit. So you can buffer as much as you want. That's not gonna happen. But once again, this comes down to conditioning your opponent. So if they do try to challenge after crouching medium punch, make sure that you go for a faster button. So if this situation occurs and they are not going to challenge after the crouching medium punch because let's say for example you already hit them 2 or 3 times with standing light kick, they probably learned their lesson at this point. So maybe they would try to go for it after the 4th one. Well, there's something interesting you can do about this. So once again, same situation, 2 crouching light punches into crouching medium punch, into standing medium punch, into medium punch rekka. Watch this. Look at that. Still safe from the crouching medium kick. Now this is interesting because obviously medium punch rekka is gonna put us at -6. Keep in mind as well, yes, they could drive impact the standing medium kick. You're absolutely right about that. But not in between standing medium kick and medium punch rekka. Which means that let's say you, for example, are buffering the motion and you see they're blocking it, you can input the punch of the rekka. If you do have those reactions and you can still cancel the standing medium kick into drive impact. But you know, if you achieve that godlikeness, then please let me know. But imagine if they would not do that, they're going to respect your strings. Well, that means after the medium punch rekka, you are still going to be safe from crouching medium kick, and you can actually go instantly into, because of how the frame data works, you can instantly go into standing roundhouse to punish the crouching medium kick. There's also a lot of other stuff you can do. You can go for crouching, fierce, for example, as well. But you can't go for that instantly, and that's where the timing gets a little bit tricky. Because watch what happens if I instantly input crouching fierce. I instantly get hit. But if I do standing roundhouse, you can see that it fits perfectly with the pressure. So the question is, what can we do after that? Well, actually from here on out, there's a lot of stuff you can do, and it actually becomes really fun. You go for that. Well, we have to put him a little bit higher, excuse me. We can go for that again. What you can also do, you can go for the standing fierce. And the same situation occurs. You can actually go for, you have to delay it a little bit here, and this is why I don't like it, because you can instantly mash another standing roundhouse, so it comes down to timing. You can also go for the crouching fierce after that as well. Which will hit sometimes, but like again, it comes down to timing, and that kind of sucks. That's so hard about it. So I wouldn't advise you to do that. So just keep going for standing roundhouse. It's so good. Even if you go for another one, you can just keep this going. It's so funny to do that. Super great. So yeah, mess around with this, but I really like this string in particular. Keep in mind, it only works on level 3 or below, because on level 4, you know, we're going to end up in their face after doing rekka. So that really sucks a little bit. Now there's a lot more you can do with this string as well if we cut it in half. For example, if they are a little bit more like a fan of drive impact, you can also stop after the standing medium kick. And that will actually put you in a good situation as well with EX dive kick. So as you can see here, it's +2. And I believe if they are standing, versus some characters, you can actually get +3. There we go. That was the right. I was just a little bit too late. So as you can see here, you can actually get +3 on dive kick. And that is really good, because that means we can actually do crouching medium punch. So as you can see, we're still in range to do crouching medium punch, and there's only we're +3, so 6 frames start of crouching medium punch. Fastest jab in the game is 4 frames, so that means we're going to beat jabs on wake up. So that means you can buffer this into drive rush. You can also go for crouching medium kick, and you know, the entire situation starts over again. So crouching medium punch has actually a little bit more uses than I initially thought it has. So, and the string itself is amazing. So yeah, go in the training room, try the string out, look what you can do, and try to implement as much as standing fierce as well with the buffer that I was talking about. You know, that's where standing fierce also really shines. Now, one more thing that you can do as well, let's say they go for it after the 7th. This is we're going into this really far, but you can also do this. For example, you can go that, and obviously like before, into the medium punch rekka, that into another medium punch rekka, and once again we're at that same specific range, that nasty range. We can punish again. So yeah, utilize rekka a little bit more in your strings, and you're gonna get really far. Same thing with back fierce. Try to utilize back fierce into your strings as well. So you saw that, for example, over here, that one can be really good. Only works if they're crouch blocking though. So keep that in mind. If you're actually going to walk backwards, then this is going to whiff. But as you can see, if they're crouching, and that is going to hit, and then you can go for the standing fierce afterwards. Keep that in mind. Now we also have some mirror match specific strings, which is for our sweep. So let's say we're gonna put him on crouching heavy kick on the 4th string. So the reason why I really like this string is I've shown this string before in, I think, how to approach neutral or something else. But standing medium punch into crouching jab, it's a good check because we're +1 after standing medium punch. So if they challenge, we win with crouching jab. And we can go into crouching medium kick afterwards. But watch what you can do after the string as well. You can actually go for a safe standing crouching fierce. No, excuse me, I'm drunk. Which is, you know, I'm just at drink level 1 right now. I need to go to drink level 4. Go for sweep. So this is the entire sequence. As you can see, I can actually block that. He cannot punish that. But I think, and we can punish after that. Once again, the reverse sweep. So it becomes a sweep game. Keep in mind this doesn't work against every character. So this specific string, for example, doesn't work if Ryu goes for sweep because we are still -10. But as you can see, even though this is 9-frame startup, he is not able to punish us, and we can punish him in return. You can also do this with another string. You can go for 2 standing medium punches, crouching medium kick, sweep, and it's the perfect Jamie bait. Alright, and the last tip I want to give you guys, and that is something I've still been working on as well, and that is using Jamie's overhead in strings. So you can use this in a specific way as well. You can mix it up between going for, in this situation for example, mixing it up going for dive kick or going for overhead, which as you can still see can still punish the crouching medium kick in this example. But the reason why I like this, and the reason I feel like I'm going to encourage Jamies to actually use this a little bit more, and I actually hope they buff this as well, because it's really hard to hit confirm into the target combo with overhead. But the reason why I really like this overhead is because look at the range this overhead covers. This is such a sick overhead, and there's a couple of frames where it actually is going to go over lows. So that means we can not only dodge lows, but also attack with an overhead from a significant range. And that's why I feel like Jamie's overhead is really, really good. Plus, even in the corner, if we don't go for the drink, it's going to give us a meaty setup. As you can see, gives us a meaty setup in the corner if we go for the follow-up, but not for the actual drink. So yeah, this is why try to mess around with this. I'm just trying to give you guys ideas to experiment for yourself and hopefully come up with even better stuff than I have come up with. There's a couple of things you can do to create like meaty dive kicks, and I feel like we gotta try and utilize a little bit more dive kicks. I have to utilize more dive kicks in my gameplay. So there's gonna be a couple of things you can do to actually create like dive kick setups for strings to have the perfect spacing. And you know, the one that I showed you so far in this one, for example, is actually really good. So yeah, mess around with it. Hope you guys have learned something here with the block strings. The best examples that I can give you is, or like the best advice is, try to use crouching medium punch a little bit more, because like I just showcased you guys here, it has a lot more potential than people initially thought. And use the standing fierce buffer. It is so good. And once again, short summary, if the first 2 hits are getting hit because they go for a challenge, the buffer will come out. If they don't go for a challenge and only the last hit of standing fierce hits, the buffer is not going to come out and you'll still be able to do something. For example, maybe there is some way to get the max range standing fierce and maybe even punish the next follow-up what they do with a back fierce, for example. You know, as you can see, those can actually hit, but that's gonna be really hard to do because I believe that the startup of back fierce in this situation is going to be stopped. Yeah, as you can see, it's gonna be stopped. But in this situation, actually not. So as you can see, actually, like, look at that. This is the perfect example of what can be possible with standing fierce. So this is actually making me excited for finding a string that is going to make that possible. Okay, so I did a little bit of digging in between the video, and I'm actually excited to showcase you guys this. Look at this. Ooh, actually, I found the string that makes standing fierce safe of being punished by crouching medium kick. And look at this interesting spacing as well, because I'm going for crouching jab into standing light kick into crouching medium punch. And back fierce actually puts us at 0 on block, which is actually really crazy, because the last string that I was doing over here, that one's still -1. So actually going for that is 0 frames. After that, standing fierce, and look where we are, but enough to actually whiff punish the crouching medium kick challenge, which is really crazy, because the fact that we're on -3, super cool. So yeah, just like I said, this is what I really love doing, and making this video actually got me excited, and I discovered something new, and this is super sick. So I'm going to try and implement this into my actual game plan, and I actually don't think it's that bad of a string, because I believe that is going to be the same situation as, so I know that I can get a punish counter here, and with the delay, yeah, it's too close, so this causes more pushback than that, which is unfortunate. Otherwise, it would be cool if we could get the same result as over here, that the crouching medium punch just straight up beats it, but that doesn't seem to be the case. But that's fine, you know, because that gives you intel once again that you should go for the jabs and go for that string, for example. But if that is not the case, then we can actually do some really cool stuff with this. Yeah. I'm gonna love doing this. I'm actually gonna try to do this in a real match and see if I can actually get people with this. The trick that I have found so far, and this is also really interesting, is if I go for standing fierce immediately after back fierce, I'm going to get hit. Watch. Then the crouching medium can kick me. If I delay the standing fierce for a couple of frames, then I can actually dodge it, which is very, very interesting. But still cool nonetheless that actually works. I'm definitely going to try and implement this in my game plan. And yeah, I hope you guys learned something here today, and I hope you guys get inspired to try and find your own strings. I am looking forward to what you guys can find on your own. Thanks a ton for watching. Hope you found this video well. If it actually did, please like, share, and subscribe to help me out. And don't forget, as usual, to stay cautious, and I will see you all next time. Take care.